Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something, well, most of us try to sidestep. Conflict.
Right. It's usually seen as something negative.
Exactly. But what if it wasn't? What if conflict could actually be a path to, I don't know, growth? Maybe even better connection.
That's the possibility.
Because the usual advice, stay calm, use I statements, it often just doesn't cut it. Our reactions feel so automatic, so wired in.
They really are, and that's exactly what we're exploring today. We're going to unpack a framework called Exhale, Explore, Engage. It's designed to help shift how you navigate conflict.
Okay.
Not just with others, but really importantly, the conflict inside yourself. And this isn't just theory, it's grounded in neuroscience, psychology, lots of real-world applications.
I showed on solid foundation.
Yes, drawing from people like Byron Katie, Eddy, and just a ton of conflict research out there.
Great. And you've shared some excellent source material with us, notes on the Exhale, Explore, Engage method, insights from Byron Katie's The Work, Eddy's stuff on high conflict personalities, and research articles. So our goal today is to pull out those key insights, hopefully spark some aha moments for you listening, and give you practical ways to actually use this. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. First step is really understanding why we react like we do.
Makes sense. Where do these reactions come from?
Well, they're not usually logical choices we make in the moment. They're patterns, wired in really early. Like Christine Langley-Oba said, we repeat what we don't repair.
Ooh, that hits home.
Right. There's an anecdote in the Repatterned source about a kid in daycare. Screaming teachers, shaming, standing in corners. Just sheer terror for a little nervous system.
Yeah, awful.
And what the system learns is, okay, being quiet, hiding, that equals safety. That becomes the body's story, the autonomic story, as Deb Dana calls it. It's told through feeling, through impulse, long before conscious thought.
So it's happening physically, before our thinking brain catches up, like that amygdala hijack people talk about.
Exactly that. Daniel Goleman coined the term, your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, just sounds the alarm. Whoosh.
And floods you with stress hormones.
Cortisol, adrenaline. And suddenly your prefrontal cortex, the thinking, reasoning part, it goes offline.
So you're basically running on survival instinct.
Pure survival mode. Your breath gets shallow, your thoughts either race like crazy or just shut down completely. The conflict stops being about now and becomes all about those past echoes.
Wow. So it's less about the argument over dishes and more about feeling unsafe years ago.
Often, yes. But here's a crucial reframe. You're patterned, not broken. These reactions, they were adaptations, smart ones, at the time, to keep you safe.
Okay, pattern not broken. I like that.
Yeah. Models like internal family systems, IFS, talk about parts. Think of them like different aspects of you. There are manager parts, trying to keep things controlled, avoid risk.
The planners, the critics, maybe?
Could be. Then you have firefighter parts. They jump in impulsively when pain flares up. Think lashing out, numbing with food or TV, or even excessive people-pleasing fawning.
Trying to put out the fire fast.
Exactly. And often they're protecting younger, vulnerable, exiled parts that hold the original pain, the shame, the fear. These parts drive those common reactions. Freeze, fight, flee, fawn.
And there's this other layer too, right? The meaning we make.
Oh, absolutely critical. The invisible layer.
It's like he doesn't text back immediately and the thought isn't he's busy.
It is ignoring me.
Yeah.
Which instantly leaps to I'm not important, or I must be a bad friend, or I knew he didn't really care.
Or maybe a coworker raises their voice slightly and it becomes, I'm incompetent or I'm not worthy of respect.
Yes. And these leaps from behavior to belief, they happen in a split second. We don't even question the story. It just feels true.
And that story then fuels the whole reaction.
Completely. And often these stories get poked by what David Rock's SCARF model calls social threats. David Doak refers to them as our hot buttons.
SCARF, what does that stand for?
It identifies 5 key areas that trigger our threat or reward responses in social situations. S is for status, feeling less than or better than others. C is for certainty. Our brains hate ambiguity. We want to know what's coming. Uncertainty feels like a threat.
That makes sense.
A is for autonomy, feeling controlled, micromanaged, like you have no choice. Big threat.
Definitely felt that one.
R is for relatedness, that deep need to belong, to know if you're in or out of the group. Feeling excluded hurts.
Yeah.
And F is for fairness. We have an innate sense of fair play. Seeing unfairness, like different rules for different people, really triggers us.
Status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, fairness. SCARF F. So these are like tripwires for our old patterns.
You got it. They keep those old conflict loops spinning.
So given all this wiring, all these triggers,
Yeah.
How on earth do we find that space to choose differently? This sounds like where your framework comes in.
Exactly. It starts with the first step. Exhale. Feel the shift.
Exhale. Just breathe.
It sounds simple, but it's profound. It's a deliberate pause, a conscious interruption of that automatic rush. Think of it as a quiet rebellion against the nervous system's urge to just react.
So physiology of the pause. What's happening?
When you take that slow, conscious breath, especially a longer exhale, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the rest and digest system. It gently shifts you out of fight, flight, freeze and towards presence.
Okay, so it's actively calming the physical alarm system.
It can, but the immediate goal isn't even calm. It's just contact with yourself. But why do we skip it so often? Why just react?
Good question. It feels hard, unnatural sometimes.
Because stillness can feel really unsafe for a lot of nervous systems. It might feel like giving up, like being exposed, or like for one client, Rhea, pausing actually opened the door to years of suppressed grief. She just started crying.
Wow, so avoiding the pause keeps the lid on that stuff.
And it reinforces the idea that the impulse, the reaction, is urgent and true and must be acted on now.
So how do we practice this exhale, this feel the shift? What's the actual exercise?
It's 3 simple steps. First, notice the shift. Just pay attention. What's the very first sign in your body? Chest tightening, jaw clenching, breath holding. That feeling is your cue, your doorway.
Okay, notice it. Don't judge it. Just notice.
Exactly. Second, anchor in the moment. Do something physical to bring you back to right here, right now. Hand on your chest. Feel your feet on the floor. Wiggle your toes. Simple grounding.
Got it. Physical anchor.
Third, breathe. One gentle inhale through the nose, and then a slow, maybe even audible exhale through the mouth, like a sigh. Pursed lips can help slow it down, or counting like in for 4, out for 6.
In for 4, out for 6.
Okay. Again, the goal isn't instant zen. It's just creating that tiny space, making contact with yourself.
Okay, so you exhale, you create that pause. What's next? That must be the explore phase.
Exactly. Now that you have a little space, you can explore what's underneath the urge, what's really driving that reaction. What are the fears, the stories, the parts involved?
And how do we explore that? Do we just ask ourselves?
Asking is key. And tools like Byron Katie's The Work are fantastic here. You take the stressful thought, he doesn't respect me. You ask 4 questions.
Okay, what are they?
1, is it true? Just yes or no. If no, you can skip to question 3.
Simple enough.
2, can you absolutely know that it's true? This challenges the certainty.
Okay, deeper dive.
3, how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? This is where you see the consequences, the emotions, the physical sensations, the behaviors.
And connecting the thought to the feeling.
Yes. And 4, who would you be without the thought? Imagine that moment, that interaction, without believing that stressful story. What changes? How do you feel?
Seeing the possibility beyond the story.
Precisely. Then Katie has the turnarounds. You flip the original thought around to yourself, to the other person, to the opposite. He doesn't respect me. Could become, I don't respect me, or I don't respect him, or he does respect me. And you look for genuine examples.
So it's about questioning my own story, not trying to change the other person.
That's the core of it. It's cleaning your own projector lens, not trying to fix the screen. Often the conflict isn't really with them, it's with the story you're telling yourself about them. Question the story and the external conflict can just dissolve.
That's huge. And how does the IFS parts idea fit into explore?
It fits beautifully. You can spot the part that showed up in the exhale phase. Was it your inner critic, your fixer, your people pleaser?
Okay, name the part.
Then get curious. Ask what it's protecting. What's its positive intention, even if the impact is difficult? Maybe the critic is trying to protect you from future failure. Maybe the people pleaser is protecting you from rejection.
Seeing the protective role.
Yes. And finally, notice the pattern. Where might this part, this reaction have been learned? A family rule, a past experience. The goal is always to connect back to what IFS calls self, that core of calm, curiosity, compassion, and lead from there, instead of being led by the part.
And connecting this back to the body. You mentioned the body keeping score.
Absolutely. Bessel van der Kolk's work is so important here. Sensations, that tightness, that heat, that sudden urge to flee their clues. Lisa Feldman Barrett talks about the brain predicting based on past data. These feelings are often memory without words.
Memory without words. Wow.
Yeah. Think about Anjali, who realized her calm tone during conflict was actually a freeze response. Her body knew clenched hands, tight smile. Exploring that led her back to childhood experiences where showing anger felt dangerous. Her body held the real story.
So the body gives us clues during the explore phase too.
Okay.
Okay, exhale, explore. That leads us to engage,
Mm.
where insight meets action.
Right. Engage. Flip the script. This is where you consciously choose how to act based on your exploration, not just defaulting to the old pattern.
But you said this can feel uncomfortable, even wrong.
It really can, because your brain's default mode network loves the familiar. Familiar feels safe, even if it's not helpful. New feels risky, so choosing differently, it literally goes against your brain's safety wiring initially.
Challenging the autopilot.
Exactly. But the good news is neuroplasticity. Your brain can change. It can build new pathways. Engaging differently helps build them.
So flip the script. How does that work practically?
It's a step-by-step practice. Step
Right.
1, name the default. What's your usual go-to? Justify, apologize, shut down, attack. Get clear on the autopilot.
Okay, know your pattern.
Step 2, flip it and expand it. What's the opposite of your default? And then brainstorm at least 2 other possible responses. Get creative, expand your options beyond the usual binary.
So if my default is to appease and say it's okay, the opposite might be confrontation. But a third option could be.
Could be stating your feeling and need clearly, like, I notice when that happens, I feel X. What I'd prefer is Y. Can we talk about that? It's assertive, not aggressive or passive.
Okay, generate options, then what?
Step 3, try it on. Body compass, this is key. Mentally or even subtly physically rehearse each option. How does it feel in your body? Is it a body yes? Maybe a sense of opening, alignment, solidity? Or a body no, tightness, dread, contraction?
Trusting that gut feeling, that body wisdom.
Absolutely. Your body often knows the aligned path before your mind does. Step 4, choose the one that aligns. Pick the option that feels most true to who you want to be, even if your voice trembles a bit, even if it feels unfamiliar.
Choose based on that inner alignment.
Yes. And then, crucially, embody the choice. After you act, stay present with yourself. The old conditioning might scream guilt, doubt, fear. That's okay, it's expected.
Don't abandon yourself after the choice.
No. Use that balcony view. William Ari talks about gain perspective. And practice simple aftercare. Walk, drink water, journal, remind yourself, that was brave, that was true.
Okay, so this exhale, explore, engage.
Yeah.
How does it play out in different kinds of conflicts, like internal ones?
Great question. Internally, it's often parts battling each other, right? The part that wants rest versus the part that needs to achieve. Exhale lets you pause the internal noise. Explore helps you hear both parts, understand what they're protecting. Engage lets you choose from that centered self, honoring the needs without being driven by the fear.
What about family stuff? Those dynamics run deep.
They sure do. Old rules, the scapegoat, the hero, the peacemaker, get activated so fast. And those legacy burdens from IFS, patterns passed down generations. Exhale gives you that crucial moment to not step back into the child role. Explore helps you see the pattern. Engage lets you respond as the adult you are now, maybe setting a boundary that felt impossible before.
Romantic relationships, too. Attachment styles must come into play.
Big time. Anxious, avoidant patterns flare up. The stakes feel high. Exhale helps you pause before reacting from fear, like clinging or shutting down. Explore helps you understand the attachment fear underneath. Engage helps you communicate your needs and feelings with integrity, rather than just reacting from the wound.
Makes sense. Workplace conflict, that feels different.
It can look different, but the underlying patterns are often the same. Professional masks can hide emotional reactions like productivity being a response to anxiety. The research shows how communication styles, that directness and oppositional intensity, can escalate things fast. The method helps you be professional in a way that's authentic, not just performing, avoiding those draining office politics.
Okay, and what about really difficult situations, like with high conflict personalities? You mentioned Bill Eddy.
Yes, HCPs. People often stuck in blaming, all or nothing thinking, big, unmanaged emotions. With HCPs, the goal of engage shifts. It's less about mutual understanding, more about containment and boundaries.
So explore still helps you understand your reaction, but engage is different.
Exactly. You use tools like Bill Eddy's BIFF, keep communication brief, informative, friendly, but not overly warm, and firm. Respond to the future task, not the past drama. Set clear boundaries, not emotional ultimatums. It's about managing the interaction safely for yourself.
And finally, sometimes is the answer just walking away?
Sometimes, yes, and that can be the most courageous act of engaging with your own need for peace and dignity. It's not failure.
How do you know when it's time?
Some signs might be. You've genuinely tried to repair from an aligned place multiple times with no shift. There's a persistent feeling of depletion around the person or situation, and it consistently takes more than it gives, eroding your well-being. Walking away is about preserving yourself.
Wow. This framework really covers a lot, from the internal world right through to the toughest interactions. It feels like it really empowers you to move from just reacting to actually responding.
That's the heart of it. Moving from being driven by old patterns to leading from your own truth, your own centered self.
And like you said, it's not about perfection. Small steps, imperfect attempts, they all count.
Absolutely. Every conscious pause, every moment of curiosity, every slightly different choice builds that new pathway. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening to consider.
Please.
What is one part of your life, maybe one pattern you feel ready to release, or one interaction you're ready to approach just a little differently using maybe just one piece of this?
That's a powerful question to sit with. And if people want to learn more about Exhale, Explore, Engage,
They can find more information, resources, and support at www.masharusanov.com.
fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of this today. It's incredibly insightful.
Thank you for the great conversation.
And thank you, our listeners, for joining this deep dive. Keep practicing, keep exploring that space between stimulus and response. We look forward to our next deep dive together.